We wanted to take a trip before the holidays and before winter set in, so we thought we'd go to Florida Keys. Neither myself or my wife has ever been down there, so we thought it'd be a nice little trip early November. The Keys is very commercialized. We did a little research online about the best restaurants and stuff, so I looked up a couple of YouTube videos online. Of course, I had to go to Guy Fieri's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And some were, his recommendations were good, and some were not so good. And I'll share that with you. So after flying into Miami International, we drove to Homestead, where we're going to stay our first night. Homestead is the most economical place you can stay before you get to the Keys. So the first night, we took a ride to North Miami to try our first recommendation.
This place, La Camaronera, where since '73 the Garcia family has been serving up fresh seafood, Cuban style.
One of the first things that they tell you is what they're famous for is these hush puppy things made out of black beans. They go through a lot of trouble. I didn't love it, but Jeannie liked it. The next thing we tried was the lobster, the fried lobster, which was also in his video about North Miami, and another painstaking way they prepare it. And it was pretty good. Lastly, we tried the yellowtail snapper sandwich that Guy ate in the video also. And the sandwich that he got was a little bit different than the one we got. And you could see the size difference here. But I'll tell you what, the best thing about this, the fries were very good. Our next stop was Marathon, Florida, which is about halfway between Miami and Key West. The place to get the best stone crab. We've seen several videos recommending this place. The shells are very hard, so they pre-crack it for you, so you don't have to. It's very good, but it's very expensive. And bring plenty of money, because you're going to need it. I give it 2 stars. We're able to see some fishing boats coming off the docks there and see some fish and tarpon. That was fun. After our stone crab, we went back on the road for about another hour and a half to finish our journey down to Key West. This is the most southern point in the United States. It's 90 miles from Cuba. The lady told us that you're closer to Cuba than a Walmart. You can see everyone stands in line to get their picture taken in front of it. And we did not. I heard there were chickens everywhere, and they are everywhere. They don't really bother you. They pretty much stay out of your way. Duval Street is like the main street in Key West. Has most of the bars and restaurants. And when you get to the end of it, it runs you right to the ocean in Mallory Square. It's kind of empty during the day, and then in the evening, there's all kinds of activity. Everybody goes to watch the sunset, which that day wasn't very good. But there's street performers. There's a guy that gives you a coconut for tips, hacks it right there for you. So it was a fun evening. One of the best meals we had was at Alonzos Oyster Bar. It's right there on the water. They got these really incredible seafood towers. We didn't get one because there were just 2 of us. But they had various sizes and prices. They have awesome oysters. They have raw, and then they have baked. I got the baked ones, all different flavors, and then I got these mussels, which was outstanding. I give this place 5 stars. The next day, we went to our final destination, back up the Keys to Key Largo. And as soon as we got on the road, it looked like it was going to rain. In typical Florida fashion, it did. But it cleared up pretty quick. My wife picked out a really good place to stay in Key Largo. It's called Kona Kai, and it was a little resort where we had our own little cabin, beautifully decorated, right on the water. Had a pier you could walk out to. They had kayaks, paddle boats, which we tried a little bit. Had a fabulous pool and hot tub, which unfortunately we didn't get a chance to use. I highly recommend this place. It was really, really nice. People were nice. Great location. Our favorite restaurant on the trip was the Fish House in Key Largo. It was featured on, and they had some really, really good food. We sampled a couple of the soups, the bisque, the clam chowder. I had stuffed grouper that was tremendous, and they have this fish dip as an appetizer. This stuff is awesome. And of course we finished it off with key lime pie. They do a meringue type. I give this place 5 stars. The next day we went on a snorkeling tour with this lady that owns her own business, and that's what she does. She takes you out on the tour. And the day was rainy, so we canceled like twice, and then we were able to get it in. Turned out to be a decent day. We didn't get to snorkel that long out of our 3-hour tour. This whole area is known for snorkeling. Wish we could have got a little bit more in. There's all these sandbars along the reef. We did snorkel around the shoreline there, and we got some decent footage underwater. Saw some pretty neat fish. And then she gave us a pretty good tour of some of the unbelievable homes that are along the bay. I give this trip 3 stars. Last Triple D recommendation was Cafe Largo Di Giorgio's. Jeannie had eggplant parmesan. It was pretty good. We had calamari, and I had the bone-in veal chop parmesan. It was pretty good. So the next morning we drove back to Homestead, where we were going to fly out the next day. It was a late flight, so my wife saved the day by booking us a tram trip to Shark Valley in the Everglades National Park, where you take this little tram, drives you around. It was a little over 2 hours, I believe. And even though it was overcast and a little chilly, we did get to see some wildlife. Of course, everything was slow moving because it was so cold, especially the alligators. But it was a great wrap up to the trip. A couple other things to mention. The Truman, Florida White House is there. We didn't go inside, but we did walk around. And Hemingway's house is there, which you can take a tour, which we didn't do. So that pretty much wraps up our trip, 6 days in Florida Keys. We had a pretty good time. It's one of those places that enjoyed it, but I don't think I have to go back. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.